a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
I gazed out over the cavern and my heart crawled into my throat. The army of demons had engaged a new enemy in battle. Magicians, dozens of them, had appeared in a loose circle around the pyramid and were fighting their way forward. The House of Life must have gathered all its available forces, but they were pathetically few against Set's legions. Each magician stood inside a moving protective circle, like a spotlight beam, wading through the enemy with staff and wand glowing. Flames, lightning, and tornadoes ripped through the demon host. I spotted all kinds of summoned beasts. Lions, serpents, sphinxes, and even some hippos charging through the enemy like tanks. Here and there, hieroglyphs glowed in the air, causing explosions and earthquakes that destroyed Set's forces. But more demons just kept coming, surrounding the magicians in deeper and deeper ranks. I watched as one magician was completely overwhelmed, his circle broken in a flash of green light, and he went down under the enemy wave. "This is the end of the house," Set said with satisfaction. "They cannot prevail as long as my pyramid stands."
Welcome to Of the Oldest Gods, where we discuss Rick Riordan's role as our godly parent.
I'm Raye, following the path of Geb.
And I'm Charlie, following the path of Bast. How we doing? How we doing here? Are we in the house?
The house is in the house.
Apparently.
We're finally, for the first time, in the house instead of getting out of the house.
I guess so. How do we feel about this chapter title?
I think it's funny.
I feel like it's boring.
Aw, they're in the house.
I thought we were in a cave.
It's a little joke, Charlie. A little joke just for you, and you don't even like it.
Yeah, maybe I'm just like not enough into the subculture that the joke comes from. I'm just like, that's to me. I don't know, man.
I guess it's not like slang that anyone uses anymore ever, so maybe that.
Yeah, like the one thing my brain can think of is like Corey in the house. Like,
right.
Remember?
And it wasn't even funny then, so that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But it's a little pun also, because they're the house.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine. That's all. I mean, Corey in the house was also a pun about the White House, so like that is also fine. That's why he was allowed to do that far beyond the relevancy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like when this was like a reference or like a terminology that people used.
When people used it in our childhood on TV and stuff, it was to show that they were lame and out of touch also, so...
Yeah, so maybe that's the thing. Rick is using that he's lame and out of touch. But
when you use it self-awarely, then it's not... It's an out-of-date reference that's fine.
Okay,
it's
fine.
For the purpose of pun. I'm fine with it. It's fine.
Alright, okay. I guess it works then. My brain is just like, where's this house that you speak of? I think the tism is getting to me.
Oh, yeah, the literalism. Understandable.
Sometimes my brain just be like that.
No, I get literalism also, but this doesn't bother me, so.
Alright, we're in this fucking cave. Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
This is another quite short one. Carter and Horace, they get into an all-out brawl with Set. They need to get him out of the throne room, so they force him to be a fruit bat for a little bit, and they're a falcon, and they fly him out. Outside, the demons, they are still trying to cap this damn pyramid, but they are being fought by the House of Life. Days are done, he does his best, but he gets bodied by Set, man. And then the pyramid gets finished, and it's 30 seconds to sunrise, so not very good, but Sadie shows up to save the day in some sort of way.
30 seconds to save the world.
Yeah, that's everything.
Good shit. I mean, hey, at least the short chapters like really make sense at this point in time, because right now it's like, okay, we're doing fight stuff. We can only do so much fight in one perspective, and it's like, hey, ooh, we stopped at a certain point where now we get to the Sadie side of like what's happening.
See, that's
and we're gonna get some more
interesting that that's how you think about it, because this whole time, I've been thinking of it as a pacing thing to, like, ramp up tension rather than as a perspective switching thing. I don't think about that at all, but you guys, you and our guests keep bringing that up as, like, why this is happening. And, like, that has never even occurred to me.
I mean, right here, it's definitely also ramping up some tension, but I'm also just like, well, there can be only so much fight in Carter's perspective before
Yeah, and I guess that
you
makes
want to
sense.
see what Sadie's up to, too.
Yeah,
because, like,
totally.
they both have, like, stuff going on. And the fact that we, like, ended on a cliffhanger of, like, okay, well, let's hand the mic over to Sadie, like, very specifically. That's why
and
I'm
see,
thinking
like,
that.
that's definitely part of it. I just don't think about it. I think about the cliffhangers and stuff, you know? I don't think about the character swapping. It just doesn't occur to me. Okay.
Well, we'll be talking about this for this series and the next series. So,
right.
so much character swapping. I have no myths.
You haven't brought us anything today. No offerings.
No offerings. I think I'm gonna be like this for the next couple still. So
yeah. It's a pure action sequence that nothing new got introduced at all. Yeah, there's nothing to be done here.
Let's talk about
if we wanted to talk about tropes, we could talk about like power-ups or whatever. Cause that's
power-ups. Let's see, power-ups or power scaling. Is there a way to just talk about like Super Saiyan? Because that's the vibe. Is that not the vibe of like what they're doing? Bro, I'm not finding our wonderful Wikipedia page for such a thing. I feel like I'd have to go to like a tropes website for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. TV Tropes. A wonderful new place to go for our myth section. Well, in case you missed it, apparently. But I'm shh. Listen, I had the book out. I was like, I guess I'll just give up today. And then you were like, so. Power-ups. Did you know that's a thing? This is specifically talking about in games, though. That's very interesting. This is like, oh, it's a thing, like, in your game environment that, like, bestows a positive benefit. And it's got, like, a whole chart of Marios, where it's like, he's got the mushroom, he turned into Super Mario. He's got the star,
I guess power-up,
Mario.
I do think, is a very, like, game-centric term. I didn't know that TV Tropes did that, though. Like, that is interesting. So, I wonder what you would call it then when we're not talking about video games.
Next tier power up. That's what we want. There we go. Here's the magical girl transformation. Next tier power ups is what apparently we're talking about specifically. But I would also put this under super mode.
I would too, because it is a temporary, or at least I'm assuming that, like, you can't sustain this level of,
potentially.
Yeah, I actually don't know how well Carter and Horace are going to be able to stay in sync after, this fight.
So let's talk about it. So, like, I already said, like, the power-up thing, that's more video game necessarily. But the next tier power-up is where we go from Sailor Moon to Super Sailor Moon to Eternal Sailor Moon, where you got like a little bit more juice. I guess you could say this is like when Percy gets his hurricane mode,
Right.
He's a little bit more powerful. And right now they're kind of doing that, but they're also kind of doing a super mode, a Super Saiyan kind of thing, where it's like, you guys are literally gods right now. It's god tier powers. Yeah, this is saying super mode is like a character temporarily becoming stronger with a visible change. So again, I'm thinking we're having like glowing eyes, glowing auras, potentially. It's not described that way, but this is what I'm envisioning. This is like what you're saying.
Yeah, Super Saiyan
animatics.
avatar state. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I am thinking, rather than the next tier power up, I'm thinking like super mode.
Yeah.
Sonic going into supersonic.
I do think that once they have like after the end of this book, they have their next tier power up. You know, like they are forever changed by having hosted the gods and like had all of this power in their grasp. And whatever comes next in their journey, they are now Super Sailor Moon, or even just going from like civilian mode to Sailor Moon. You know, like we've had a change in power anyway, but it's definitely some kind of super mode. So like super mode is like a limited thing usually. We got like a finite power source. Oh, I love how it's like there's a requirement to trigger it, and it looks awesome. It must look awesome. Like you have to glow, you have to float, you know, something or other. And you have like an aura of invincibility. They absolutely have this. Do they not? Because they're fucking, again, they're gods right now. Yeah. I'm also imagining like, you know, like the random like wind blowing or whatever, like so perfectly. So like the amount of anime effects that I'm imagining with this is why it needs to be an animated show.
What if we did do it anime style? That'd be so funny.
I'm just saying, the magician's powers require anime to me. How are you supposed to do the avatar, the hawk-headed avatar like thing that they do? Falcon head, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, how are you supposed to do that without animation?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to be shitty CGI. You know it. We don't want to put a bunch of kids in front of the green screen forever just to make the Kane Chronicles TV show.
It wouldn't be fun, no. So, at the end of the chapter, it does describe Sadie as radiant with multicolored light with her staff and wand glowing. Like, she's literally doing the thing. Like,
I mean, I'm assuming the multicolored light is also because, like, that's Isis's, like, thing, is that she's got the multicolored wings.
The multicolored wings.
So, like...
No, I'm just saying, she's literally glowing like a Super Saiyan. She's in super mode. They're doing it.
I don't know if any, like, thing happens later, because, like, it's been so long since I've read later books, but I know I've seen, like, somebody at one point draw fan art of, like, Sadie with Isis's wings, and I was like, that's so good. I love that. I have no idea if that's canon, but it should be.
It should be.
Right?
I want that for her.
I want it so badly. But yeah. I mean, is Seth not also getting a super mode of his own kind of right now? Maybe not quite as big, but like
I think
right
that
now
it's different when it's a villain. I think it's technically a different trope.
Yeah, turns red is the bad guy version, maybe? Oh wait, nope. Sorry.
It's
there's
one-winged
so many
angel.
things
That's what you want.
Ooh, they turn into big honking monsters.
As
He's
you
not
do.
quite doing that though.
No,
like,
that's true.
Yeah, so I don't know if this would necessarily work for what Seth is doing.
I'm thinking of like a villain transformation, and you're right, he hasn't really done that.
No, I'm just thinking like he's kind of like also doing like the glowing thing of like, haha, like I have like so much power right here, and like we're in my place of power kind of thing.
And he's,
you know,
we've got boss phases.
Yeah, like he's going through like one of those boss phases, basically, I guess.
Yeah, so the TV trope page does say that this was popularized by Dragon Ball Z. So that's pretty much our history, you know? It's a very anime thing to do.
Sometimes anime is correct. Okay?
I mean, anime knows what is cool and awesome, actually.
Anime does know. If any of our listeners don't understand, you guys need to go watch an anime.
So sometimes you really just need a little anime time. It's good.
It's good for you, okay? Just a little treat. The house is in the house. Let's get to it. We're in a fight to the death. And I love Carter's immediate vibe for this chapter is like, I love this! A fight!
Yeah.
I get to punch him in the face. You know, like...
He seems a little high, like... Which kind of makes sense to me that would make that happen also. You're like, the endorphin rush of being overwhelmed by godly power.
Oh, obviously, yeah. Like, oh, there's nope, I can't talk about that yet. My brain's just like things later.
So he's having a great time, and they're having like a kaiju battle. Like Set makes himself very big so that he can fight Carter's avatar form, as you do.
Yeah, it's so good. Set's fighting with like the staff that he had in the last chapter, and Carter has to fight him with the dang sword. Staff and sword feels weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Staffy sword, you're not into it?
No.
I don't know.
Man.
I've watched enough Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that this means nothing to me. You know, they're all...
That's fair. I'm not thinking of it as a quarterstaff, though. I'm like, that's a magic staff. You don't hit people with those.
Oh.
Right? That's what I'm envisioning, at least.
I guess, okay, so, how long are these magician staffs supposed to be? Because a bow staff is very differently sized from, like, what I'm imagining a magician staff is like a walking stick. That's true.
I think, the way that I was drawing, like, Sadie with her staff is that, like, it's gotta be something that's taller than you. You know, it's gotta be a grand, like, big, tall staff. That's what a wizard staff is, you know?
Okay.
And
rather than
like
a walking stick size. Yeah.
Yeah.
In which case you could use it as a quarter staff.
I thought quarter staffs were like...
No, they're fucking huge, bro.
That is huge.
Yeah.
I'm trying to envision how that looks, but
they're long. The point is that it's got reach. It's got reach and it's got length for momentum. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, my brain is just like, wizards, you don't fight this way. Why would you do that? But maybe I don't know. He's fighty.
I mean, we have always been saying this whole time that like the staff is the offense of the two items. So maybe this is why. Maybe you whack people with it.
Correct. You're like Rafiki. You're just like, I smack you with the head. All right. So Carter is like, I gotta get Set out of here. I need to get him out in the open because this is gonna crumble on top of us. And like, that's what he wants. Set will be fine.
Yeah, he wants to bury us and trap us in here, in our tomb.
We can't be entombed in here. That's no good. So we'll free Dad later. Right now, I gotta get him out of here somehow. And Horace is like, here, let me give you some fighting skills to wrestle him.
Yeah, he's decided to grapple. He's using his grapple skill.
Yeah, because he thinks about Bast and Apophis. I never pictured Bast and Apophis grappling, I'm not gonna lie.
Huh. I mean, I always have. How do you fight a snake? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I also picture, like, Bast being, like, too, like, fast and quick to be, like, that close to her enemy at all times.
That's very interesting to me, because the way that I have been, like, conceptualizing this is that you are trapped in a very small space, and you are, like, in physical proximity to your enemy, and you are just... struggling, like, physically, like, for all eternity.
Yeah, I'm still envisioning, like, a small enough space that you can fit, like, giant snake and
right
cat lady in there, and I'm just like, she's bouncing around, like, you know, that's what I imagine Bast doing, is that, like, she's, like, jumping this way and that way, and, like, you know, she's tiring herself out, getting him to tire himself out, kind of, like, and, like, she gets quick jabs in,
and
but,
that
like,
does make more sense, but I have been conceptualizing it the way that they're kind of saying here, as, like, physically attempting to overpower and wrestle with each other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, you don't want to get that close to, like, certain types of snakes, because that's
very true.
You know,
the constriction.
The life out of you. I don't know what kind of snake Apophis is, but could happen. So that's just been my thinking. Yeah, we grappling, we holding, we're wrestling here today. And now what do we do? Is this not the greatest moment for Carter?
Yeah, why did he decide to do it as a grapple if he didn't have an idea for what to do after? But, yeah, so...
I mean, he gets an idea. But
I love this idea. The plan.
Tell me,
it's very good.
It's not... This is character growth. This is vindication. This is what we needed from Carter in this final fight. You're a fruit bat. I told Set.
And that works.
No! It's like, yeah, you gotta force him to be something so we can get him out that hole and out of the pyramid, okay? Get him out of here. And Set is just confused by this, and that's
You
enough.
don't normally expect your enemy to make you into a fruit bat, you know? I would also be confused if somebody said you're a fruit bat while we were fighting each other.
Be like, no, I'm not.
But am I? That's the thing. Somebody says you're a fruit bat with enough confidence, you're like, but am I? And that's how they get you.
Or you say, no, nope, I'm really bad. I'm really bad at this, but no, I'm not, but you are. Or like something where you kind of be like, Uno reverse.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm rubber, you're glue. And you just start chanting
that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't remember how that phrase goes, but like the one where it's like Uno reverse. It's actually you. You're the one who gets shit thrown at you. There you go. I made a new thing. So, he gets this idea from Amos turning them all into the storms, and I'm like, excuse me, this has happened to you specifically. Also,
It sure
you got
did.
turned into the little guy lizard. Lizard Wizard. Yeah.
I miss you, Lizard Wizard, every day.
Oh man. The fact that he wasn't real. The fact that he was just Thoth's OC.
Yeah. Truly
Ruined.
tragic.
Alright, so Set shrinks, becomes a fruit bat, and now, I keep trying to say Horus, and then I'm like, no, it's Carter, but also it's Horus. So, chorus?
We could call them... Yeah, I was about to say, they are in chorus together, and also they are chorus. It works on multiple levels, it's perfect.
This is their new name now, Chorus. So Chorus turns into his little birdie form, because we gotta do birdie stuff and fly away out the air vent and out onto the pyramid, and then we go back to people and immediately avatar form, and oh no, the avatar's like arm is cut, just like Carter's arm is cut, so it's not looking great. And this is where we get the house being in the cave / house.
They're here. They're ready to kill some demons and whatnot.
They sure are. There's so many magicians here, and the demons are fighting them back. So it's not looking great. The fact that Set's just like, this is where the house will end, right here, right now. This is a heck of a final battle.
It sure is.
This is book 1.
Goddamn.
This is why I'm like, this is anime power scaling, is what this book series is. Like, we're gonna have to get even more epic next book in order to,
and that
make
doesn't
all this
always work, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, exactly. Just the problem with power scaling in general.
Right. It's interesting because, we didn't get a full-on assault of Camp Half-Blood until book 4.
Yeah.
And this isn't really an assault on the house. The house is doing the assault, but, like, either way, it is kind of the same concept. But, like, we're much less attached to the house as an institution. We never really were a part of them. We never really trusted them throughout this entire book. So, I don't know. It doesn't hit the same as that, certainly.
And I guess you could say the first, like, full party, like, fighting against, like, a party of, like, bad guys was book 3 on, like, the mountain. So, like, it did, like, kind of get more and more, like, we had that all out brawl, we had the fight at camp, and then we had the full-on war in the next book. So it did, get grander each time. But now Rick's just like, well, that was my last book. So I kind of have to start even more epic somehow.
Yeah.
Like, bro, this is book 1 of a series. Don't forget that. You can't go too far, too fast.
We'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
Yeah. The capstone is being retrieved. It's going back up the pyramid. So, it's not looking good.
Just got some giants doing it now. No time for some pomp and circumstance. We just gotta get the thing up there.
Yeah. And immediately Chorus is like, let's go. We gotta get to that. So it's like, no. You cannot do that. I speak a divine word at you. I don't know what this word means. It's Hawi.
It's Hawi strike. It says that on the next page. It's
which is very annoying.
Yeah, not great.
Who's the editor for this?
Yeah. What do you call that? Blocking? I don't know. I mean, normally you just let the book words lay where they lay. But
yeah,
it could have used a like keeping the word and the translation and the hieroglyphic translation all being on the same page. That would help.
Yeah, I feel like I would have done something to that paragraph to make it go to the next page.
Yeah.
You know? But that's just me being like, this displeases my eyes. So Face of Horror is with the Giants also, because, you know, that's like lieutenant, second in command.
Face of Horror, I don't know why, but in my brain I'm like, he's like a little bitch. Like, I'm imagining him as like the very sniveling, like...
Absolutely. He is such a little bitch. That's exactly what's going on here. So, like, that's your, like, main Disney villain henchman.
Exactly,
right over there.
Exactly. That's the vibes that I get from him.
Yeah, if only we had two of them, because then you get, you know, like, the
pain and panic.
Yeah. We love the pain.
But unfortunately, Set melted the other one earlier in the book.
This is true. I forgot about that. So it's just Face of Horror. All right.
So the capstone is gonna go on, and then they get blasted by a force of wind, and you know who it is. It's your man, Michelle.
He's also kind of a little bitch to me, but you know, he's being badass right now. So I was just like, oh my god, it's Michelle. He's here. He is queer.
It's very successful, like, the way that, like, you kind of change how you think about him. I'm trying to compose a joke, and I'm like, I don't know. I support his deja wrongs. He's...
Elliot, does that work? Does that work as a joke for you? Oh god.
So he's girl bossing his way up the side of this fucking pyramid, and then Set just cracks him.
Yeah, that makes me so sad, because I'm like, oh my god, yes, you're finally doing something helpful for once. No, where are you going, bro? What happened? Yeah, and even our buddy Carter is like, oh no, honey, no, you don't deserve that.
Yeah, that's rough, buddy.
Yeah.
It says, broken and unconscious, he tumbled down and disappeared into the mob of demons. He could be fine, given how books work. We didn't see a body.
If Luke survived
exactly
that fall, Michelle is totally fine. Also, he fell into the mob of demons, and I'm just imagining he's like crowd surfing.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Also, I didn't even mention, they're like on the side of the pyramid, like having to fight, and also like that's gotta be such a bitch. That is a slope, my dudes.
Not ideal.
No, I don't want to be fighting at an angle up a hill. Or down a hill.
Like, them things are fucking steep. Like,
I think I would just tumble immediately. But, you know, he's got the power of God and anime on his side. So
he truly does. But I mean, it can only work for so long, so
yeah.
Carter gets distracted because he's thinking about Sadie and his dad and Zia and Amos, and Set fucking trips him.
Well,
usually the power of love makes you more powerful, and instead, this time, a detriment.
No, the power of love. My one weakness.
Man.
It's sad, man. Also, just the fact that Horace is just like, we have to be patient. We fought him for 7 years last time.
And Carter's like, we had 2 minutes. Like,
we don't have 7 minutes right now.
Yeah.
Let alone 7 years. Excuse me.
That is, I didn't think about Horace's phrasing there. We fought him for 7 years the first time. You know, he's like, he really is thinking of them as one at this juncture.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it could also be like Horace with like Isis and like his other buddies, whoever he got to help him fight Set.
Okay, yeah.
I'm imagining he didn't fight
I feel like
himself.
those are equally valid interpretations, because he wasn't alone, you're right.
All right, 30 seconds to say save the world. That's it. That's all we got. The pyramid is almost done.
Well, the pyramid is done.
The
Didn't he put
pyramid
it
is
on?
done. Sorry.
Yeah. Once he puts it on, it says red light flowed down the sides of the pyramid with a sound like the world's largest bass guitar. Pretty fun.
There.
Love that.
Da-na-na.
Set just does like the sickest bass solo you've ever heard.
And then Thoth's there with his like electric stealing the show.
Oh my god, and they'd be so cool.
Hey,
this is
Jorge,
how we
if
bring
you're
order
listening-
and chaos together. It's
Jorge, if you're listening, what musical what musical instruments do the Egyptian gods get? If you know which ones the Greek ones get, right? You know, we should talk about that at some point. I know we're gonna talk about Epic the Musical, but we should just do like, hey, let's assign musical instruments to each character. I love doing shit like this.
Categories, very fun.
Categories are just great, okay? Maybe
So-
I'm talking.
So we have 30 seconds. 30 seconds to die. There's really
Well-
no way that Carter is going to be able to stop Set at this point. Not alone.
Deus Ex Machina!
Literally, because it's a god again. I love how that works out.
Except
The god
Horus
is Sadie.
not alone, and we're not going to fight you in the desert.
Sadie, what does that mean? I'm very excited to figure out what's happening next chapter.
I know what that means, and it's my favorite thing, and I cannot tell you.
The other cliffhanger / foreshadowing is that Sadie says a name, the last words I'd ever expect her to utter as a battle cry. So that's a fun little teaser.
I love it. I'm in love with like this. What Sadie does is so good to me.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I can't wait for you to
And
experience
I have
it.
no idea, so very exciting.
And that's the chapter, my dudes.
Yeah. This might be the shortest recording we've ever done. Not that we're done. We still have plugs, which I don't have any thoughts about yet. I didn't think about it before.
Oh, I have to narrow down my plugs. That's the only problem that I see.
I mean, I've just been watching a lot of news.
We cannot plug the news. Plugging the news is sad.
I already did that once anyways. Maybe it was on a different podcast, I don't remember.
No, you did do it here.
Okay.
And that was valid of you because, you know, public service stuff, public broadcasting.
Hey,
you know?
I hope we still have public broadcasting in a little while.
Exactly. Why I don't listen to the news. 'Cause
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
Valid.
About the news source, apparently.
Uh-huh. I learned on PBS that there was an executive order to defund them. So good times.
I want to know how they cover that. Like,
Very normally, actually. They're very normal about everything on PBS. Okay.
so I've been watching a lot of YouTube recently. I'm back to watching YouTube videos apparently instead of watching anything else.
Understandable. That's been me forever and ever.
I mean, it's a problem when you're like, oh, but wait, what happened to me watching shows? I was in the middle of watching Sailor Moon.
Oh no.
And then I was like, season 4, Sorry, when the show gets like too focused on Rainy, I do get a little bit like, whose show is this anymore?
That's rough, man.
It does make me a little mad.
And I've always thought that Reedy in English was like a little completely obnoxious.
Like, I like her as a character. I just want her to be not the main focus, and she does kind of become the main focus. But that's not what I'm plugging right now because, like I said, it was slightly annoying me, so I was putting it off and I was watching YouTube. But I ran out of Danny Mata. So the algorithm was like, hey, do you want to watch some Baldur's Gate Let's Plays?
Of
And I'm
course you
just
do.
like, you know what? I've experienced this already. So I think watching a Let's Play is fine. And I've never been one to watch Let's Plays before this. Let me preface my plug with that. I've never really, done that unless I was like, I need to know how to get through this thing. Like, that's the only way that I go to people playing video games online is like, I need help getting through doing something. I cannot do it. I can't figure it out. But now I'm like, I'm obsessed with this thing. I've already played through the entirety of it. Maybe somebody will make a different choice that I don't particularly want to play.
Right.
That's
That's a lot of the fun of, choice-based games, watching Let's Plays, is seeing what everybody does.
So I was recommended Emalynde. Yeah, it's Emalynde. And she's like a D&D player going into this. So every so often she just spouts a bunch of lore at you. She's very into elf lore. And I'm like, oh, there's so much happening here. What is going on? I know nothing about any of this. So it's very cool getting some of the like the lore drops every so often that she does. But then I'm just like, oh, you don't know about this thing? I only know about this thing because of Baldur's Gate. So you're gonna learn some things here about D&D. That's cool. You're gonna learn some more lore stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
I like knowing more than other people when I know nothing. It's a very interesting power struggle. But I'm like, haha, I'm just learning things. I feel so cool. And then she was just like, I don't know who Shar is. And I'm like, I know things about that.
Nice.
It feels so powerful. Yeah. So I've just been watching her playlist of like playing through Baldur's Gate by herself, and it's been very good. Very interesting. Like I said, I don't really watch Let's Plays. But I'm just like, hey, it's me experiencing the game again.
The not catharsis. What's the word? Vicarious. You're vicariously re-experiencing the thing.
Yeah.
That's what I do all the time on YouTube is watch like reaction channels and Let's Plays and shit. Because I'm
Danny Mata was my first reaction channel too.
Well,
like I'd never watched reaction shit before either. So
hopefully you don't become horribly addicted like me.
The YouTube that I was into before was like skits, you know, and cosplay and music videos. Just I was not into some of the, well, obviously I was still into like, what are they called? What we do here, like
video
reviewing
essays
things,
and
video
reviews
essays,
and yeah.
I was like still into video essays and reviews and like all of that kind of stuff,
but
obviously
not like the base reaction content, which is sometimes similar to like reviews, except that it's in real time, and so it's much more like visceral. Yeah.
So it's definitely different, and now I'm very interested in like how these things go about.
Yeah, I feel like I got into it by like watching RPG Maker horror game YouTube. Just like very simple like pixel horror games that were like made by Japanese people a lot of the time and get translated into English, and then somebody plays it, and then this is like part of my childhood, man. Yeah. And I couldn't play horror games when I was small. Like, I still can't. I can't play a horror game. I'd die. I would physically die. I couldn't do it. So, yeah.
That's fine. I also can't do horror, so...
So, you reminded me of a game show. I think that I've probably talked about Dropout before. Dropout is a subscription service. If you remember College Humor, they basically turned into this. Yeah. They do a lot of fun game shows and stuff. And one of the things that they do is Actually. And Actually is a nerd trivia game where, they will give you a wrong statement, and you have to buzz in, and you have to say the term, actually, like how in Jeopardy you have to say what is. You have to say, actually, and then correct the wrong thing in the statement. And it's very silly and charming, and sometimes they'll do, like, D&D stuff and stuff, so, like, you might have some fun with that. And I know that there are some episodes that are on YouTube, so even without having to deal with the paywall, you could still look at some of it if anyone is interested in anything like that. It's very silly.
We like silly.
Okay, how about you release us from this mortal coil? We could do that now.
Well, you have 30 seconds to save the world. So
oh shit, fuck.
You gotta hurry the fuck up and get out of here, you know? I mean, the house is in the house, but I want you to get the fuck out of the house. So, deal with that.
That was just about perfect. I have nothing to add. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good.
Of the Eldest Gods would like to thank its $10 and up patrons. This means you're either in the Savior of Olympus tier or the God Complex tier on our Patreon, patreon.com/oftheeldestgods. Thank you all so much for your support, especially Matt, our God Complex patron.
You can follow this podcast socials at Of the Eldest Gods Pod on Instagram and Tumblr. You can send us a message through the duat to oftheeldestgodspod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support us financially, join us at patreon.com/oftheeldestgods. By becoming a patron, you can join the Deus Ex Media Discord server, where you'll be able to chat with us and other listeners about the Riordanverse or whatever else. Our $5 patron tier also gets you access to Against All Odds, our monthly bonus show. There, we'll talk about a wide variety of topics, which usually have something to do with mythology, no promises. You can check out our merch store on Redbubble to find custom designs made by Charlie. Or if you cannot or do not want to support us financially, we'd really appreciate a rating, a review, or letting your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. If you want to hear more from me, Raye, check out Barbie Movie Slap, a podcast where my co-host Ted and I discuss Barbie's cinematic universe. That podcast Twitter is at Barbie Slaps.
You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms. I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws. You can also hear my voice on 2 other podcasts. I co-host another podcast on the network with the meme maker Robert called The Bits, where we talk about the Cartoon Network show Steven Universe. I also co-host a non-network podcast with my buddy Ethan called Mysteries in the Machine, where we talk about all things Scooby-Doo. Our music was created and produced by Isabel Strauss-Riggs. You can find Isabel at Kane I, that's I is in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. She also currently makes video essays on the YouTube channel Kane I. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast.
Of the Eldest Gods is based on the series by Rick Riordan. Right now we are discussing The Kane Chronicles. Remember to follow us on your favorite podcatcher and meet us back here every Thursday.
Do you love to be super scared? Do you enjoy listening to hilarious hot takes on timeless classics? Well, fear not, listeners. I'm here! Welcome to the Super Scary Podcast, where we cover everything from the supernatural to the superpowered. I'm your host, Josh, a scaredy cat nerd who enjoys superhero, sci-fi, and horror movies way too much. Whether I'm processing my trauma from Texas Chainsaw Massacre or reminiscing on the nostalgia of Hocus Pocus, my guests and I have a hilarious time going through our favorite and sometimes not so favorite moments. I'm your friend till the end, listeners, because everyone's entitled to one super scary podcast. We post weekly episodes on Mondays, and you can find us at Super Scary Podcast on all the socials. See you in the afterlife, listeners.
I've been meaning to text you a picture of my Coke cans recently, because I got the new share a Coke, and new genders just dropped, bro, homie,
New genders?
dude.
Oh, good.
Those are the genders right now.
Good, yeah.
Share a Coke with a bro, share a Coke with a homie, share a Coke with a dude. Yeah, it's very sad they don't have Buckaroo.
Oh.
They have partner. I want to make it say partner. You know, you gotta make it a little bit less gay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more cowboy.
Deus Ex Media.